Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back again, and it is Friday, July 10th, and it is 10:04 p.m. Well, I have uploaded the first video, and it is processing, and that takes a very long time these days, so I got a much earlier start, but I thought I would go ahead and do a second video because I do have an abundance of news, and I do want to get to a good deal of it so that maybe I can finish it off tomorrow along with any new news. All right, well, let's get into it. And I did thank some donors at the first of the last video. So, but I appreciate everyone that donates to this channel or supports it through Patreon. I appreciate that very, very much. So I never want to take you guys for granted. All right, well, I'm picking up exactly where I left off in the last video. I am just continuing to go down the line of news items that I have singled out, or that in some cases, Triple H, Heather H in Houston sent me some good stuff the last couple days, so some of that is mixed in as well. All right, well, let's just pick up from where we left off and continue on, and I'll try to get as far as I can go, and we'll see if we can get some of this stuff, you know. I don't know what I was going to say. I've lost it. I'm becoming Joe Biden. Help me. Anyway, here is a very, very ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous article. And actually this, I can definitely say, Heather H. in Houston sent to me. Japanese asking roller coaster riders to scream inside your heart. I don't know how you do that, but scream inside your heart. All right. And just so you know, this is the best thing I have ever tasted in my life. I just discovered it today. It is raspberry, it's sparkling raspberry apple cider. So it's sparkling cider, but it's raspberry and apple. Oh, it's delicious. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. I digress. Anyway, yeah, this is a very, very serious story about screaming inside your heart, which we must cover. Must. Unwittingly, a Japanese amusement park company has given us the tagline for 2020, "Scream inside your heart." Yeah, the advice is being given to customers visiting the Fuji-Q Highland theme park and riding the 2-kilometer-long Fujiyama roller coaster. I love roller coasters. I would love to ride that. Apparently, even wearing a mask can't protect your fellow riders if you inadvertently let out a hearty scream while careening around the track. So the company is advising riders not to scream out loud, but rather do it inside your heart. Naturally, Twitter exploded. Well, naturally. Sorry, I think I'm bumping this microphone, and that could be a little uncomfortable on your ears. Yeah, Kathy Tur said, in response to Ben Pershing, Japan's theme parks have banned screaming on roller coasters because it spreads coronavirus. Please scream inside your heart. And Kathy Tur says, I feel seen. And down here, Ben Pershing says the same thing. And this person, Igor Bobik, says, I'm already an expert at this. Yes, some of us are, including myself. And this person says, if 2020 had a tagline, this would be it. I think she's right on that. And Benji Sarlin says, I'm killing it already, and I'm not even on a roller coaster. Altering human behavior, unfortunately, isn't quite that simple. This is especially true when trying to suppress instincts. The roller coaster reaches speeds of 130 kilometers an hour and drops 70 meters at one point. It was the fastest, tallest roller coaster in the world when it opened in 1996. So it's very difficult to suppress the instinct to let out a good scream, except that 2 executives of the company are shown in a video riding the roller coaster completely stone-faced. Well, I'd like to see that. I'm sorry, I hadn't planned on this, but I really would like to see it. So Let's see here. I'd like to see somebody ride a roller coaster stone-faced. Here they go. Oh, I love roller coasters. I wish I could ride it. Well, let's get to the scary part here. Let's go halfway through. Whee! Yes, he has to be sure not to lose his mask. And it's important to make sure his hair's in place. Well, I've seen just about all I want to see of that. Especially with the wind sounds. Now, this guy right here, he nails it. He really, really nails it. This guy, not so much. I can tell under that mask. And he smiles a lot, and you can see that translate to his eyes. He smiles a lot, and yeah, I don't think he quite nails it as much as the other guy does, but they did pretty good. Yeah. I absolutely, because I worked as a manager at, well, it's called Canada's Wonderland, and it's a lot like a Disney theme park. Really, it really is. And I worked there, and we used to ride the roller coasters at night after people left, and I don't know, I love it. And to tell you the truth, after you've done it a lot, like you've ridden the roller coasters a lot, you don't scream. It's kind of like, yeah, it's fun, whee! But I am like a roller coaster aficionado. And now with my back injury, not such a good pastime for me, but oh, I love them. Okay. Now, I know you didn't come here to hear that. So, all right, let's get into the real news now. And let's look at this. I can't remember what this is. Oh, President Donald Trump over the last week did the following, but you probably won't hear about it from the news. Number 1, he made vaccines voluntary, not mandatory. And 2, he defunded WHO forever and wants an investigation into operations. 3, he canceled the Dem H.R. 6666 bill known as the COVID-19 TRACE Act, Bases for Gates Diagnosis and Tracking Project, canceled. Canceled Gates Project known as ID 2020. Woohoo! Why haven't we heard this in the news? Well, I guess we know why, don't we? And he opened a complaint platform to report censorship on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. They got the evidence. Number 6, he made an executive order to reopen states. Governors who refuse to reopen will be sued. Number 7, executive order for White House to take over all electrical grids, include internet servers, broadcasting, and electronic systems. Number 8, declare places of worship essential services. And she comments, he is changing the world. Now, also, she continues on here and says, executive order on building and rebuilding monuments to American heroes. To destroy a monument is to desecrate our common inheritance. Number 9, executive order on safe policing for safe communities. All officers should be properly trained for such encounters. So this person says, great news. Thank you for sharing important information. Did you happen to know where we can read more about this? And Don Michael, who, PhD, says, search through many pages, had to summarize most of them, many more than I listed. So there is lots happening. We don't necessarily always hear about it in the news or even on the alternative news, but there is a lot happening out there. And these are all good things, although I'm not sure about the White House taking over all the electrical grids. That makes me a little bit nervous. I have to say, you know, maybe this president won't use it nefariously, but maybe the next one will. I don't know. So that one I'm going to reserve judgment on, but the other things that are stated here are all good things. All right, then let's just make sure there's no other juicy little tidbits that she's left, and let's go back and go on and get to more, because there's more. There's always more. All right, let's look at this now. I'm sure you've probably already heard this, but just in case you haven't, political prosecution, Trump rages after Supreme Court tax ruling. So they have ruled that Trump must show his taxes, but he does not have to provide them to the House. So that part's good, at least. Deutsche Bank says it will comply with the Supreme Court's decision and will provide Trump's records to New York prosecutors, according to Bloomberg. An angry Trump, meanwhile, tweeted that the Supreme Court decision is all a political prosecution. Yes, it is. And that courts in the past have given broad deference, but not to me. That is all true. It's all true. Things that have applied to other presidents never seem to apply to him. He's just given no slack whatsoever. All right, and Trump continued, no Republican Senate judiciary response, no justice, no FBI, no nothing. Major horror show reports on Comey and McCabe, guilty as hell, nothing happens. Catch Obama and Biden cold, nothing. A 3-year, $45 million Mueller hoax failed, investigated everything. For another president, this is about prosecutorial misconduct. We catch the other side spying on my campaign, the biggest political crime scandal in U.S. history, and nothing happens. But despite this, I have done more than any president in history in the first 3.5 years. He's right about that. He's right. He's absolutely right. Update. After granting New York prosecutors Trump's tax returns, the Supreme Court has denied efforts by House Democrats to subpoena the records and has kicked the case back to the lower court for further consideration. So that at least is a win, because you definitely don't want the Democrats getting a hold of it. Definitely. The Supreme Court on Thursday ruled in a 7-2 decision that a New York grand jury can have President Trump's tax records after Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance Jr. subpoenaed 8 years of returns, along with other records in connection with an investigation into hush money payments made to porn star Stormy Daniels, according to Axios. And of course, Stormy Daniels has even admitted that she never had sex with Donald Trump. Vance Jr., whose father was Jimmy Carter's Secretary of State and who took money from Harvey Weinstein while declining to prosecute him for sexual assault, and who sought a reduced sex offender status for Jeffrey Epstein, wants to see if Trump's reimbursement of former attorney Michael Cohen for payments to Daniels and another woman violated any laws in New York, and whether Trump's accounting firm falsely accounted for the reimbursement as a legal expense. House Democrats, meanwhile, issued 3 subpoenas to Deutsche Bank, Capital One, and the president's longtime accounting firm, Mazars, for evidence of illegal conduct or hidden loyalties, despite no evidence of financial crimes or collusion with Russia. He refuses to turn over the tax returns. What does he have to hide? Financial Services Chairwoman Maxine Waters mused last May. Then Oversight Chairman Elijah Cummings wrote in a memo that his subpoena was necessary to investigate whether President Trump may have engaged in illegal conduct before and during his tenure in office. Democrats then argued that obtaining Trump's financial records could be a useful case study to learn about unsafe lending practices and money laundering, along with Russia and other foreign entities to influence the U.S. political process during and since the 2016 U.S. election. Yet, as the Journal notes, D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Naomi Rao explained in her Mazars dissent, allowing the committee to issue this subpoena for legislative purposes would turn Congress into a roving inquisition over a co-equal branch of government, medical records, private emails, cell phone logs. None of the president's personal papers would be out of Congress' reach. What are the chances Trump's returns will leak out of New York? Pretty high. Pretty high. And it's nobody's business. He hasn't done anything wrong. So why do they keep investigating? Why do they keep pushing? to find anything. I mean, he has got to be the most investigated president in history. Not just the most, he's got to be the most investigated politician in history. And they haven't found anything. That's the odd thing. All right, let's go back now and let's look at this. According to the Blaze, Democratic Houston mayor shuts down Texas GOP convention over COVID after he marched in protests. Well, naturally, because you can't get it if you're protesting. Don't you realize that? You can't get it if you're protesting. It's only if you go to a Trump rally or GOP. Well, hello, Sammy. All right, Republicans say the mayor's move is a political stunt. Well, of course it is. What else is new? Democratic Mayor Sylvester Turner has taken action to assure the shutdown of the Texas Republican Party state convention slated for next week, saying the risk of an in-person meeting is just too great due to the threat of COVID-19. However, if you want to go out and protest, in masses, that's fine. That's perfectly safe. Right. But GOP leaders are calling the move purely a political stunt, calling out the mayor for hypocrisy after he participated in large demonstrations just weeks ago following the death of George Floyd. Mayor Turner announced during a press conference Wednesday that health officials had expressed their concerns to him over the GOP's upcoming gathering, so he asked the city attorney to step in. The legal department reached out to Houston First, which owns the venue where thousands were expected to attend the convention scheduled July 16th through July 18th, and convinced the corporation to cancel the Republicans' contract. These are some very serious times, Turner said during the news briefing. Simply the public health concerns outweigh anything else. Right. It's all about the health concerns, isn't it? All right. So I'm not going to read the rest of that because we have too much to get through, and that gives us the gist. And let's go back and go on. All right. Oh, yes. Look at this. They're just crazy. Proposed Democrat platform gives U.S. asylum to the world's migrants. Why does the United States have to be the dumping ground for all the world's migrants? Why? And why do we have to foot the bill? That's the second question. A proposed policy platform for the Democrat Party, drafted by supporters of presumed Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders, would give asylum to the world's migrants, inviting them all to the United States to live and work. Yeah, that will work. The document, known as the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force recommendations, would provide amnesty and a pathway to U.S. citizenship to the 11 to 22 million illegal aliens living in the nation and welcome hundreds of millions of the world's migrants. The proposed Democrat platform would expand asylum for migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border, freeing them into the interior of the nation while they await their hearings. Gallup research from 2018 finds that nearly 160 million migrants around the world would move to the U.S. if given the opportunity, 5 million of which are located in Central America. Now, who is going to vote for these guys? Literally, who is going to vote for these guys knowing this? Anyway, likewise, the plan ends construction of the border wall, halts deportations for illegal aliens, ends all travel bans on national security risk nations, China, Europe, Brazil, and Iran, ends agreements between U.S. and Central America to reduce illegal immigration, and ends most federal detention of illegal aliens. The plan also calls for restarting DACA for young illegal aliens, restraining DAPA for illegal parents of DACA illegal aliens, rescinding Trump's national emergency at the border, increases refugee resettlement, gives Obamacare to DACA illegal aliens, forces Americans to subsidize welfare-dependent legal immigration, expands the scandal-plagued U visa program, restarts employment-based green card system, The massive expansion of illegal and legal immigration, in addition to the hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens and more than 2.5 million legal immigrants and foreign workers added to the U.S. population every year, would come as more than 35 million Americans are unemployed or underemployed. Yeah. An amnesty for all illegal aliens, expansion of asylum, more refugee resettlement, and continued admission of employment-based green cards would mean tens of millions more foreign nationals for whom unemployed Americans would have to compete for jobs against and subsidize, because it's going to be our taxpayer money that pays for all this. Oppositely, Trump has halted a series of visa programs to reduce foreign competition against unemployed blue-collar and white-collar Americans. The plan, industry insiders say, will drive up U.S. wages and create an economic model where businesses bid for employees with better benefits, better working conditions, and higher pay. Yeah, there's the difference between the two. Now, who do you think a normal person would vote for? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, well, let's go on, because we can, and we will. All right, let's look at this, because we can. James Wood just watched Hillary's latest video, new teeth, another facelift, vodka, afternoon glow. She's running. Could this have been the plan all along? Now, I don't even know if this is really her, because it doesn't look anything like her. She's a little bit fuller in the face. She does look like she's had a facelift. She looks younger. Her hair's blonder. It's longer. She's got new teeth. She looks like she's had a brow lift or something. I don't know if it's her or not, because you just can't tell anymore. Actor and conservative powerhouse James Wood watched Hillary's latest video, and he's got a theory. He believes she's running again. This theory has been floating around for 4 years now, but seriously, a lot of big names have said the same thing, namely Steve Bannon, who said it's not a question of if she runs, it's when she announces it. Here's what James Wood said about the new Hillary video in a tweet: new teeth, another facelift, vodka afternoon glow, she's running. Well, I happen to agree with that, to tell you the truth, because I don't think, she's spent the last 4 years, well, 3.5 years, no, probably closer to 4 now, making excuses why she didn't win. And I think it absolutely is eating her up inside that she didn't win, because she feels so far superior. Not only that, but she knows that if Trump gets in, that she's in big trouble, and she should be. But, I just can't see her staying out of the spotlight, because she thinks too much of herself. She is a narcissist, if ever there was one. And she's a sociopath as well. Yeah, wonderful combination there. And let's go on. Okay, I think we've already looked at that about Colorado requiring face masks. Now, here's something that you probably didn't know about yourself. You're a bigot unless you have sex with every gender. Yeah, well, that's what they're saying. I must be a bigot. I'm only into one gender, and it's not my own. The New Laugh says you're a bigot unless you have sex with every gender. This is insane. Of course it is, but it doesn't stop them, does it? No, it never stops them. Sounds insane to say, but the party that once rallied against gay conversion therapy is coming shockingly close to promoting it themselves, all under the guise of supporting the trans community. Suck the dick, bigot. No, really, in today's increasingly strange world, in order to show allegiance to those who tickle the final letter of the LGBT acronym, one must forego all dating preferences and swallow their pride or something else. Okay, well, this is a little bit crude. To prove they are true allies, yeah. It's transphobic to decline having sex with a trans person because they are trans. If you don't want to have sex with a trans person because you two don't have chemistry, there's nothing wrong with that. A fringe benefit is gaining traction, and previously well-respected publications such as BBC are now promoting people who present the idea that genital preferences are transphobic. In an article titled "The Black Transgender Push to Keep the Fight Alive at LGBT Pride, non-trans gay men are called transphobic for not wanting to date trans men, aka biological females. Only in current times can gays come under attack for not liking..." Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest. It's kind of crude, but you know, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is being floated out there, and it's just another piece of ridiculous, asinine, I don't know what else to say about it, because it's just so out there. Now, they want us to respect gays for their preferences, right? But now they're saying, well, if you don't have sex with all genders, you're transphobic or you're whatever. So I don't know. I wish that they would just, I don't know, it changes day to day, doesn't it? It's too much for anybody to keep up with. All right. Oh, and look at this. No, really, look at it. Hate hoax. Oregon politician admits he wrote racist letter to himself. The end result is a verbal and written admission by Lopez that the letter was fabricated. Well, well, well. We seem to have a lot of that, don't we? I'm thinking of a certain garage pull that was labeled a noose. All right. Well, I'm not going to read all this. Oregon politician Jonathan Lopez has admitted to police that he sent an anonymous racist and threatening letter to himself in an apparent bid to advance his political career. Well, how's that working out for you, Jonathan Lopez? Probably not well. A man who claimed he received a hate-filled racist letter from an anonymous person allegedly wrote the letter himself, Hermiston police say. Chief Jason Edmondson tells KEPR TV News that the criminal investigation for second-degree intimidation due to the racist, hate-filled letter received by Jonathan Lopez on June 23rd has been closed. The matter will be referred to. The matter will be referred this week to the Umatilla County District Attorney's Office for initiating a false report, a Class A misdemeanor in Oregon. Edmondson says the investigation has shown that Jonathan Lopez wrote the letter himself and made false statements to police on social media. The end result is a verbal and written admission by Lopez that the letter was fabricated. Okay, that's all I'm going to read about that, but I wanted you to be aware. Okay, let's go back, see what else we can get into. I'm trying to find, there's one, okay. I'm not going to skip around here. I'm just going to take it as it comes. Otherwise, I'll lose track of what I've covered and what I haven't. Joe Biden now supports defunding the police, who he says are the enemy. That was a quick flip-flop, even by Joe Biden's standards. Less than a month ago, the Democratic Party nominee said he doesn't support the leftist defund the police nonsense. Now that he's become a Bernie Sanders-style communist revolutionary, he does support defunding the police and even referred to the law enforcement officers as the enemy. I think he may have forgotten that he's in the general election, not the Democratic primaries, and needs to appeal to everyone in America rather than the leftist kooks of his party. Yeah, leftist kooks that's pretty kind compared to what they really are. Biden did an interview with a Stephen Hawking's-like guy with a voice emulator, and the discussion eventually got around to Black Lives Matter and the leftist cop hate. George Floyd had 5 children. Breonna Taylor was only 26 and had decades of hopes and dreams ahead of her, but America's commitment to white supremacy stole away those relationships and those futures, asked the interviewer. It's nice to see that a debilitating condition doesn't stop lefties from being completely full of crap. The interviewer then asked if Biden was open to defunding the police. Yes, I already proposed that kind of reform, we need significantly more help. That's why I call for significant increase in funding for mental health clinics and mental health provider. We are desperately in need of that now, said Biden. At this point, he kind of talks like a caveman, but the point is he agrees with defunding the police and replacing them with social workers. Joey Ogg then offered up one way he would defund the cops. Surplus military equipment for law enforcement, that they don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. That's like military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be something, these people, Biden said. Protecting these people, Biden said. So cops can't protect people in an up-armored Humvee, and that makes them the enemy invaders. I feel like Biden should revisit his mental health comments and get some of that for himself. Okay, well, this is very poorly written, and I don't want to be stumbling over every second, but he did. I saw that interview, actually, and he is all for defunding the police. Yep, yep. He's all for anything he thinks is going to win him a vote. All right. That's enough of him. And let's look at this, because this is odd. I'd like to know. Now, they're making it sound like it was suicide, although they're not saying that. Seoul mayor missing, his phone turned off, search underway. Well, he's been found. They found him dead. And actually, this is the first thing that I saw about it, but this is old now because he has turned up dead. He was out, I think, found in the woods or something, and he was deceased, and they are refusing to say, but they say that no foul play is suspected. Well, if no foul play is I lost the word. I'm becoming Joe Biden. I hope not. Is suspected. That's the word I'm looking for. Suspected. Gosh darn it. All right, so no foul play, that means only one of two causes. Either he commits suicide or he died of natural causes, like a heart attack or something. But it's all very, very strange. So I do have another article further down about them finding him, but he had been missing for several days. Seoul, South Korea, the mayor of South Korea's capital, Seoul, was missing Thursday after leaving a message that his daughter described as sounding like a will. Police said a massive search was underway, and that's what leads me to think that it's suicide because of little comments like that. Police said they were looking for Mayor Park Won-soon near a small hill in Seoul's Sungbunk neighborhood where his cellular signal was last detected. They said the phone was currently turned off. His daughter called police on Thursday afternoon, said her father left a will-like verbal message before leaving their home about 4 to 5 hours earlier. The daughter didn't explain the contents of the message, said an officer at the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency who was responsible for the search operation. His daughter said that she decided to call police because she couldn't reach her father on the phone. The officer said requesting anonymity because she was not authorized to speak to the media about the matter. About 300 to 400 officers and a drone were mobilized in the search, according to police. Kim Ji Hae-young, a Seoul Metropolitan Government official, said Park had not shown up for work on Thursday for unspecified reasons and had canceled all of his schedule, including a meeting with a presidential official at his Seoul City Hall office. So who knows, but they have found him now, and he was deceased. And they said there was no suicide note found, but they're refusing to say that it was a suicide. And it could have been, or it could have been a hit. Who knows? That's why I'd like to know a little bit more about this, and I am following it. Okay, it said Park Won-soon had led an aggressive anti-virus campaign, shutting down thousands of night spots and banning rallies in major downtown streets. All right, well, let's go on from there, and because I'm not going to be going too much longer here. All right, and this is very, very sad. Thomas Edward Matticus Jr. said, "This is the Biden rally in Pennsylvania. Look at the size of that crowd. He just asked people to come inside because he thought it was raining." I think he's joking there, but how many people are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 5 people at his rally. And they want us to believe that he's leading in all the polls. Not buying it. I don't think you are either. All right. And this is the one that I wanted to get to because, of course, it's about a cat. And a dead cat, but the cat died of natural causes. He was old. Cat gets voter registration application in the mail after dying 12 years ago. Owner says her late pet was a Democrat. Okay, yeah, no such thing as mail fraud, is there? No. Scratch this name off the list. An Atlanta family said it received a voter registration form this week for their cat Cody Timms, who died 12 years ago. There's a huge push, but if they're trying to register cats, I'm not sure who else they'll be trying to register. The late feline's owner, Carol Timms, told Fox 5 Atlanta, "I'm not sure if they're trying to register dogs, mice, snakes. Yeah, who knows?" The Timms say that they found the form addressed to the cat in their mailbox on Wednesday. Carol Timms described Cody as a great cat, indoor and outdoor, who loved his family, loved his neighborhood, and lived to the age of 18. That's a ripe old age for a cat. Both my cats lived to 22, and I thought that was old, and 18 is actually quite old for a cat. 22 is ancient. And I hope the 2 that I have now live just as long. Plane just flew over. Okay, so they found the form addressed to the cat. Look, I would be shocked if I received a letter addressed to one of my cats. Would you not be? But in terms of his voting prospects, he's a cat and he's been dead for a long time, Timms told Fox 5 Atlanta. The Georgia Secretary of State's office told the station that they did not send out the form and that third-party groups behind such applications often use mailing lists to obtain names and addresses of people, and in this case, a cat. Yeah, well, you know what? If you're a farmer, why not register all your cows? I mean, your sheep, your pigs, whatever you have. Your dogs, your cats, your gerbils, your mice, your rats. Some people have pet rats. Yes, they do. What about your snakes? Register them all as Republicans. Yeah. This is just about the most ridiculous story I've heard, but you know what? I've heard so many ridiculous stories, I don't think that I'm qualified to make that assertion. Third-party groups all over the country. Oh, I just swallowed my saliva. I hate when that happens. Choke on your own saliva. I'm going to have some more sparkling raspberry cider, apple cider. What is it? How do they say it? Sparkling apple raspberry cider. And it's local. It's locally made, non-alcoholic, proudly Canadian. Get yourself some today. Probably not available where you are, but it's too bad for you because this is freaking delicious. I'm going to have to go get me some more. This is the first time I've tried it, but let me tell you, man, it's good. You just pucker your navel. Oh, all right. So, let me see. Did I finish this? I'm thinking I did. All right. Okay. Let's go back. And let's look at this from our president. I know I skipped a few things, but it's getting late. Too many universities and school systems are about radical left indoctrination, not education. Therefore, I am telling the Treasury Department to re-examine their tax-exempt status. You gotta love that, man. I don't care what anybody says. You gotta love them. Okay. Oh, yes, and then there's this. The head of emergency management says Texans should wear masks inside their own homes. So, you Texans, get your masks on. Go get them. Get them. They're probably watching you from outside. Yeah, I think he's wearing a mask. Yeah. Who knows? These people are crazy. All right. Oh, yes, and we have to cover this. Unknown pneumonia, deadlier than coronavirus, sweeping Kazakhstan. Chinese embassy warns. Unknown pneumonia, deadlier than coronavirus. Well, it wouldn't take much to be deadlier than coronavirus, really. A statement from embassy warns that death rate is much higher than coronavirus and says local authorities have yet to identify the cause. Kazakh authorities have reimposed COVID-19 lockdown in some parts of the country. Oh, please, Lord, please don't let that cat knock over my china. Cats, you can't live with them. Can't live with them. All right, so authorities have reimposed COVID-19 lockdown in some parts of the country amid a spike in pneumonia cases last month. Now, this was published yesterday, so it's fairly fresh. The Chinese embassy in Kazakhstan was warned of a deadly unknown pneumonia after former Soviet Republic reported a spike in pneumonia cases since June. The death rate of the disease is much higher than the novel coronavirus. The country's health departments are conducting comparative research into the pneumonia virus, but have yet to identify the virus, the embassy said in warning to Chinese citizens in the country. While the Chinese embassy described the illness as an unknown pneumonia, Kazakhstani officials and media have only said it is pneumonia. Xander? He's being bad. He is being bad. Xander! No. I don't even have my water bottle. I can't even spray my cat be gone. All right. It is not clear why the Chinese embassy has described the illness as unknown or what information it has about the pneumonia. Excuse me for a moment. Xander! Xander, get down. Get down. He's just looking at me because he knows I'm busy. He knows I'm busy and that I'm not going to get up there to get him down. Cats are smart. They're smart. Someday, cats are going to take over the world. All right. So the embassy website, citing local media reports, said the provinces of, I can't pronounce them, and the city of, that I can't pronounce that either, have reported significant spikes in pneumonia cases since the middle of June. The capital, this town, and the capital city of this are 1,500 kilometers, 930 miles apart, while the distance between the capital cities is 330 kilometers, 205 miles. Well, I am convinced that they are releasing more and more viruses. I really am, because I don't think the first one did everything that they wanted it to do, and I don't think enough people died for them because they're all about depopulation. So I don't know, but that's what I believe is happening. I believe that, and you had Bill Gates there saying things like, you know, well, the next one's going to get their attention. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, all smiles. Both he and his bride, all smiles about it. Yeah, the next one will get their attention. Mm-hmm. Chinese embassy said that so far there have been nearly 500 pneumonia cases in 3 places, with over 30 people in critical condition. The country as a whole saw 1,772 pneumonia deaths in the first part of the year, 628, which happened in June, including some Chinese nationals, the embassy continued. And see, here's the thing. How do they know that this is not a mutation or what have you of the coronavirus? Because it's mutating all the time. Because the strain that we have now is not the strain that they had in other places. I don't believe it, because those people were dropping dead like crazy, and you don't, I mean, a lot of elderly people died here, but you give a bunch of people, elderly people, the flu, and a large percentage of them will die. So I'm just not buying it. The Chinese embassy in Kazakhstan reminds Chinese nationals here to be aware of the situation, step up prevention to lower the infection risks, blah, blah, blah. So said that there's been 1,700 pneumonia cases nationwide in June. That's in Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan. I can never pronounce that. More than 2 times the number in the same month last year. So I just wanted you to make you aware of that, because there's seems to be a lot of these viruses now. They have They have bubonic plague reemerging. Not that it ever really disappeared. It's always been around. Not very popular, but we've even had cases in the States of bubonic plague. But it's reemerging, and there's this new pig flu. So, yeah, I think that unfortunately we are going to be seeing more and more of this. It's all about depopulation and bringing in things that like Bill Gates wants to bring in. I'm so glad that President Trump is wise to all that. All right. Well, I think that I'm going to call that a night because, well, how long is this video? It's 45 minutes and it's getting late and I'm getting tired and I'm starting to, you know what happens to me when it gets late. I get really silly and, well, nobody wants that. So let me just see if there's anything else here that I definitely want to cover. I can't remember what this is, but let me just hit on this here. Oh, yes. We don't hear good stories about the police enough. Not enough. Oklahoma police officer gives breakfast money to down on his luck veteran. This is a feel-good story to me anyway, and I'm going to make this bigger and play this. Hang on here.
No sense, man. Y'all are...
Let me take it back to the beginning here. It won't let me.
We'll stop by later.
Anyway, it's not going to let me go back to the beginning. Oh, yes, it will now. Sure, now it will.
My man. Almost about to spill it.
So they found this guy.
Hey, take that.
He's a veteran.
Some food later today. Some gas.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this.
Gave him money for gas, gave him breakfast.
That don't make no sense, man. Y'all are...
You're doing right, man. You're just trying to get right. You're right. We'll stop by later and holler at you, man.
And they're saying they're going to stop by to make sure he's okay later.
Hey, you have a blessed day, Jeff. You have a blessed day, my friend.
Now, I really do think that there are a lot of police like that out there because I've seen all sorts of things. I saw this one video where a police officer, there was a guy that was homeless. He didn't have any shoes. And he went into a store. He asked him what size he took. He went into the store, bought him some shoes, brought them out, put him on his feet. There are good cops. There are a lot of good police officers. I know. I've ran into some in my lifetime. I'm sure you have too. So I think that we're being very, very unfair to our police. I really do. And for the most part, yes, I mean, I'm admitting there are some bad cops. There really are some really, really bad cops. But there's also a lot of really good ones. And, if you can do something to make the day of a police officer, if you see him behind you, and I have done that actually, if I see a police officer behind me, I'll get there. Now, usually it's in Tim Hortons and I'm usually getting a coffee. So I'll say, well, whatever they ordered behind me, I'll pay for that. It's something so small. It takes only a few dollars and it's something kind that they remember because they're dealing with, look what they're dealing with every single day and the negativity that they deal with. Take time to say to an officer, I appreciate what you do for the community. I'm with you. I'll pray for your safety, whatever it takes. Buy them a coffee, whatever. So, I don't know. I can only say good things about police. I'm not saying that there aren't bad ones because, boy, there sure are. But for the most part, people go into policing for the right reasons. For the most part, not always, but for the most part, I believe they do. So I'm going to end that there. I still have some things to cover, but I can cover those easily tomorrow. And we will call it a night. So thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the kind things you guys have to say in the comments, and things that you say via email or whatever. I really appreciate it, and I don't know what I did to deserve such great listeners, but it must have been something good, because I've got some awesome top shelf people that listen to this channel, and I appreciate it very, very much. And I'll continue to do it as long as you guys want to listen. I'll keep doing it. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful night. I hope that you sleep well, and please stay safe. Keep seeking truth. Deception bites. Good night, guys.